afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young. I cannot believe it. This is the final show in October of 2022. What a great year it has been for Topic Time, and we are moving on. And autumn is beautiful, as you can see behind us. Great backdrop in the town of Easton, and we are going everywhere on Zoom. We're doing a show to the Bluegrass State today, to the state of Kentucky. I have a gentleman here. His name is Jake C. Young. He's a film producer. He's an actor and a director, it's great. We're getting so many people from different parts of the country. You got to love that. But before we get to him, as usual, we've got to read these incredible underwriters, and then we will commence. So I want to thank Auto Country, king of the used car in Abington, #1 in the deal ratings for Massachusetts in 2021. Best customer service, been with me since the beginning. We got them. We got John's Beanhouses and Floral Shop in Brockton. We got Countertops Express in North Attleboro, experts on installing and removing quartz and granite. We got Johnny Macaroni's Restaurants, 3 locations, 2 in East Bridgewater, 1 in Halifax. We got Lynch's Towing, Auto Cycle, and Truck Center in Brockton. 1 number for towing, 1 number for projects. My pal Lynchy always looks for scrap metal, wheels, anything to do with the transportation industry for projects like that. There, we got 1 good credit in Brockton. We got A1's Tire and Auto Center in Brockton. Always in search of new underwriters. Always in search of new service writers and techs. And we got Radiologist 101 Barbershop in Brockton. We got C&J Auto Body, Auto Glass Towing in Stoughton. We got the Gunrunner LLC in Middleborough, the Second Amendment Freedom Store. We got Eli's Auto Repair in Taunton. We got RW Carpet and Flooring in Norton. We got Auto Town Auto Glass and Auto Body in Abington. We got the law offices, Cahalan and Stefani in Brockton, PC. Specializing in personal injury and workman's comp law. We got Doggy Boutique, all breed professional grooming for dogs and cats, run by my great next door neighbor, Debbie Siddell in Brockton. We got Grant's Rental in Bridgewater. We got Easton Fitness right in the Village Shops in Northeastern, and we got Joe's Diner in Taunton. And I want to thank you guys very much. And now on that note, I'll now officially introduce Mr. Jake C. Young. Like I said, no relation. He's down here in Kentucky, the southern side of this country, great part of the country. I've never been there except through this, and it's going to, ultimately we'll travel, we'll go everywhere. But Jake, thanks for doing my show. It was great to, touch base with you a few days ago to set this up.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Well, now you have a demo reel of some of your work that we're going to watch about halfway through. Now you're an actor, you're a producer and a filmmaker and a director, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, what I do with every person I interview, regardless of whether they're sitting with me in person or whether they're hundreds of miles away, which you are, I try to find out what they were like as kids and how they got to where they're at. So tell me about yourself as a younger kid, younger guy, kid, whatever, and what did you aspire to? How did you get to where you're at now? And then if I have any questions, I'll roll them in and we'll discuss that as I see fit. So go ahead.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, again, thanks for having me. But yeah, when I was a kid, I started off at a very early age. I knew film.
Hey, your audio's a little low. Can you turn it up?
Can you hear me?
Better now. Yes.
Yeah, this microphone's a little.
Okay. Yeah, keep the microphone as close to your mouth as you can. Yeah. Okay.
There we go. But yeah, whenever I was a kid,
you know what? Tape it clip it to your shirt or something, and just keep it tucked in there. It's going to be much better. Hold it up if you have to, because if you don't hold it up there, I don't hear it as clearly.
How's that?
That's good, but you got to keep it there. You don't want to let it drop. If you let it drop, we won't be able to hear you much at all. Can you put it in your shirt there a little bit? Just keep keeping an open flap there. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that'll work. Kind of look.
How's that?
That's much better. You kind of look like you're a male pole dancer, but that's okay. You're looking for tips. I get it. That's kind of funny in a way.
As long as it pays, it's
exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah, okay, so yeah. I hear you a little better now. Just make if the mic flips, I'll let you know, and then you can return it. But just don't juggle too much unless there's an earthquake.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, all right. So let's talk now. Whereabouts in Kentucky are you? I don't really know the state. I know I've heard of Paducah. I know Lexington, obviously from the Downs and everything. So whereabouts?
Yeah. So
where are you located in Kentucky?
I live in a place called Pulaski County, Somerset. I'm about an hour from Lexington, from where the Kentucky Derby is. So yes. I'm about an hour away.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. Okay. Is that, are you in a rural area? I assume you are, right? That's pretty good. It's a
Um,
rural state.
so I'm kind of on the line. Where
Okay.
I'm at, we have city stuff, but then the further south you go, the more rural it gets. Heading
Yeah.
towards into Tennessee here in southern Kentucky. Beautiful landscapes. Really
Yep.
love it. It's nice to be able to always come home after being in a film or being somewhere for a long time. It's really nice to come back home to this little one horse town, as I call it. So
I got it. Now, are you sort of near the Ohio state line where you are? Where you are?
no, I'm further closer to Tennessee.
Oh, you're closer to Tennessee, so you're further south.
Yeah,
I got
yep,
it. Okay. And yeah, you're in
yep,
the Eastern time zone, which is interesting. Okay. All
yeah,
right. Well,
yeah.
like I said, yeah. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
we're
your childhood. You grew up there, right?
yeah. So I grew up here, and I sort of understood that acting and filmmaking is what I wanted to do from a very early age.
Okay.
I had decided somewhere around probably in middle school, I was about 13, that this was the career I was going to follow. But I didn't really get serious about it until I was in my early 20s, and then I decided to really make a career out of it.
Okay. Well, hold up a second. Now, as a middle school student, did you do anything in film or acting or anything behind the scenes with any camera at all? Even if it was just something that you had for a hobby, or I mean,
You
did you do
know,
anything? Did you do anything to perfect your skills a little, or try to improve your
well,
skills?
so I was very shy as a kid.
Okay.
I hated the idea of getting in front of people or anything
Okay.
like that. But the way that I done that was I pretended a lot growing up. I always was pretending. I wanted to escape the reality of the dullness that everything became. So I never really could grasp the idea of in middle school and in elementary school they said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I wanted to be everything. So
Wow.
that sort of, I never felt the idea of just being set on one level and being that for the rest of my life. I wanted to do everything in the world, whatever I wanted to be. So ultimately, I guess you could say I was destined to become an actor and, a filmmaker. And that way I could have that all and have the ball in one court.
Yeah.
When I was in middle school, I remember this was about the time that digital camcorders had came out. So I had one of those and it ran on like 4 AAA batteries. It was awful, and it was it was
Yeah.
terrible. It was
Okay.
all shaky, and the quality was they were terrible. And I would set it up, and I would practice my acting, and I would play multiple characters on different stuff, and just create content. That's
Well,
uh,
hold up
you
a
know
second. What kind of characters did you play? Bad guys, good guys,
I played them all.
strange creatures from outer worlds and dimensions, or what? Or all of that.
I I played them all. Growing up, I was very inspired by action heroes. Those were the guys that I had aspired to be. I remember watching uh, Sylvester Stallone, Chuck Norris, all those guys, all those classic heroes I grew up on. John Wayne and Tombstone and
You
Clint
were like the
Eastwood.
tough guy image.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was growing up the way I did. That was sort of all we had.
Yeah. Well,
That
that's
was
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
well, that's what you aspired to be. You had to be that growing up where I did in a very rural area. You know, as Johnny Cash used to say, it's get tough or die. So,
Right. Oh, yeah.
that's
Are you
yeah,
like
it
are
was
you in
pretty
the
rough.
Appalachian area? Are you in Appalachia where you're at?
I'm a little further down, a little
Okay.
further down than Appalachia.
Appalachia. Okay. That's right. Appalachia. I don't know. I thought it was Appalachia, whatever. All right.
Yeah,
So basically it was kind of like, it was kind of like Cajun country, even though you weren't in New Orleans, but you were kind of a hick who wanted to step out of the sticks and move yourself into the line, into the spotlight, right?
well, yeah. So, the first thing usually when people hear the word Kentucky is, they automatically think, you're a hick, you're an idiot.
I'm not saying you're
That's
an idiot, and
automatically.
I'm just, listen. Like I said, it is a stereotype. I'm
Yeah,
not.
it is, and that's
Yeah.
what people usually think of when they hear. But we moved around a lot when I was a kid, so I got to see a lot of the world. And like I said, with such a large, broad mind, I aspired to be more than just a farmer driving a tractor.
Right. I understand.
So that's sort of what they. That's still today. I still get that because of where I live. And they still think that's it's very stereotypical, but it's we're not all like that. Now we're very hospitable, and
No, I'm sure.
we
Listen, I'd love to visit that area. I love that kind. I've seen
oh
pictures. It's
yeah,
beautiful.
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
love
you'll
this.
have to come
I mean,
down here
it
sometime.
would be a wonderful vacation. If I were, I mean, this is, I mean, I'm a big fan of, anything rural. I love the United States of America is the fruited plain. And basically that's what I'm a fan of, without a doubt. And that's what you are. And that's where I am too. If you look behind me, this is the town of Easton, Massachusetts. I don't know if you've ever been in New England before, but as you can see, it's pretty nice up here too. It's, that's a little park that's about a mile away from the TV station. I'm actually,
Oh yeah.
that's a green, I'm sure since you do filmmaking, you know what a green screen is, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Of course you
Yeah,
do. So
for
I got
sure.
one behind me, but as you can see, it looks like I'm sitting outside and I'm not, but this is right in the neighborhood.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Beautiful area.
It
Beautiful.
is. It absolutely is. Have you ever been
Yeah.
up here before?
Yeah, I have actually.
Oh,
I've
you
been
have?
over
Okay.
there.
Was that part of it? Now, did you go to college at all for filmmaking when you got into your
Um,
20s?
so
A
when I
school of any
first
kind for
decided,
filmmaking?
I decided I was going to try it, but I went through a community college where I just I sort of flunked out. It was
Okay.
more of just having a good time, and but
Audience, I
I
understand.
but I most of my filmmaking it came through experience, self-taught experiences, which I believe that experience is the best teacher anybody can have.
Absolutely
Um,
right. I
yeah,
totally concur with that. All right, well,
yeah.
talk about when you got older. Now you had that digital camera when it was just coming in, when you were a teenager, kind of growing up. What is that now? You were pretending to be all these characters, all these tough guy characters. So what did you do after that in order to, establish yourself a little more when you got older?
It went on. I saved up my money, and working like I did. Working on the farms and stuff, and I got me another camcorder, and I started having friends from school come over, and I was like, hey, you guys want to make a movie? And obviously it was completely terrible, and it was just a bunch of kids running around, but that was my first real experience, my first directorial, that I had sort of stepped into a different realm. And it was just friends kind of playing around. And ironically, we tried to make a very serious, tough film, and it ended up just being so hilarious you couldn't even stand to watch
No,
it.
I can
It
imagine
was
exactly what it was like. You probably like the kid, like if you ever watched the TV show The Wonder Years, you will like those films at the beginning of the show. Just everybody sort of
absolutely.
acting natural and trying to put on a facade, like a bold facade, and all they ended up doing was make it looking silly, but it was great because it was exciting, and it was something new, and it came out really good, and you got a lot of laughs out of it, and it was definitely incremental to creating your success, and as the years progressed. I mean, clearly
Oh
that's
yeah.
at now.
Oh yeah, yeah, and
Okay,
you're in Massachusetts, so in Mass, I've actually got a film that's going to be screened up there. I think tomorrow.
cool. Boy, what a
Yeah,
perfect timing for this interview then.
yeah, the Starlight Bridge. You know where that's at?
With the what?
The Starlight Bridge.
The Stone Lake. Oh, what town is it?
I'll have to check, and I'll
The
have to
Stone, as you
see.
say, the Stone Lake. We got a Stone Forge Tavern right here in Easton. It's a restaurant.
Yeah, it's a Starlight Bridge. They do outdoor films there.
Okay,
They screen films outdoor, and a film I recently directed with my really close friend. He's my filmmaking partner. We do about everything together. He runs a podcast.
okay,
But we just directed a film together, and the writer is going to be doing a Q&A there after the film is screened, and yeah,
cool.
it's going to be in that area.
Okay, all right. Well, tell me about it without giving too much away. Tell me about the film that's going to be screened up here tomorrow.
Yeah, the film that's going to be screened, it's called A Night of the Undead. It's my most recent project that I've worked on.
Okay,
With my partner Kenny Scott Guffey. We actually live in the same area, Kenny Scott and I, and we're best friends. And he had approached me a couple years ago about directing this project. He'd seen some of my work, and he wanted to remake the film The Night of the Living Dead. And
okay.
I'd never done anything horror related like that, that was to this genre. So he approached me and asked if I would direct it, and I said yeah, sure. So we directed it, and ever since it's been a smash hit down here, and it's working its way out. And it's a sequel to the 1968 Living Dead movie.
Okay, I remember
And
that.
Yeah, the black and white. Yeah, it's a sequel to it. So we've got some subliminal references in there, and like I said, so far it's been a smash hit down here, and we've packed out several theaters. So it's been really nice, and we'll be on streaming live to Tubi and Vudu, all those major platforms, coming pretty soon. So yeah, I hope you guys get to check it out.
We definitely will. And speaking of that, we're halfway through the show. And like we discussed at the beginning, now we're going to take a look at your little demo reel. And then after that, we're going to discuss it. So without
Yeah,
further ado,
absolutely.
folks, sit back and relax and watch Jake C. Young's demo reel. And we'll be right back to talk about it.
Matt, where the hell have you been?
Mexico. I just got back.
Mexico.
Haven't even had time to go home and take a shower.
Woo!
So what do we got here?
A girl lost in the woods.
Damn kids. Should have known better to go hiking this time of year.
With a storm blowing in. But what can you say? They're kids, right?
Yeah. Anybody been out there messing around?
Not to know of, just us when we get there.
Keep everybody off the track. If I'm not back in 72 hours, send a search party.
Okay. All right then.
You had a fever of 105. Whew.
There's an escaped convict on the loose. He's got a hostage with him.
Isn't that like a job for the FBI or something?
The hostage is my daughter.
Oh, Christ, Daniel.
Look, I need some food, some clothes, a map if you got one, and maybe a gun.
But you can't go out there like that. You're still wounded.
Be fine. Just stay off the track until dawn.
There's that.
Look, you stay off that track until dawn. You hear me? Thanks.
Sure you don't need any help? Because, I mean, I'd be more than obliged to tag along.
No. Look, this is my fight, so you just consider us even on all those tickets and fines that you owe, right?
Oh, Jake, that was great. Tell us what we just watched.
Oh yeah, so you seen a little bit of my demo reel. That's a little bit of stuff that I done. In the beginning there. You've seen some of my previous work, and it sort of follows in a chronological order. My first major film I done. It was a student film actually, but it was my first still major one. It was called Robin Hood: The Legend Begins, and then I had it wasn't the best, but it was something that was my first one, and they've slowly progressed. As you see each one, you can sort of see my work from all the way from my acting into directorials, and the most recent one that I acted in was that film I directed that you just saw called Boone: The Vengeance Trail, and it's about a local here. It's based on a true story. I don't know, a lot of people are familiar. Daniel Boone.
Of course.
Daniel Boone. Everybody knows Daniel Boone.
Everyone
So
knows Daniel Boone.
yeah, everybody remembers Fess Parker.
Fess Parker,
Daniel
absolutely,
Boone
yeah.
was a man. Yeah.
Dan Boone was a big man. I know. I used to watch the show as a kid.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
So I play Daniel Boone in the film, and I directed it, and it's based on the true story of when they abducted his daughter there. And this actually took place. I actually live in this area where most of that took place at. I live not far
Interesting.
from the Daniel Boone National Forest, so it was very, very interesting for me to play someone like that. And he's one of my personal heroes, and to someone who's actually lived here, and I've stepped into that role, and I had the beard and the hair and everything, but it was that was a very interesting role for me. Just feeling what this man must have felt when his daughter was kidnapped, and he has to track her down and go back and rescue her. And it was a very fun project, and it's streaming now. You can find it anywhere: Walmart, Amazon.
Wow.
check me out on Tubi. I think it's on Tubi, Vudu. You can check us out, stream us on Amazon. But yeah, we're everywhere. So give it a watch. It was shot in a segment. Just it's got some real guerrilla filmmaking tactic styles there. So it was rough, but it was a good thing, and we sort of we modernized it a little to fit the audience's comprehension for it. So yeah, it was a good project.
That's great. I mean, yeah, it looked great. I mean, and you look like Fast Packer kind of too. You have that outdoor rugged look, and I guess that makes sense considering that's basically where your upbringing was. Now you mentioned it was a student film. Where is that? You want to mention the school where you sort of flunked out of?
Yeah. So it was our local community college.
Right.
It's called Somerset Community College, and that was my first two films were student films there. I was working under my professor, and he had sort of showed me some stuff that he's like, you've got a good idea. He's like, well, let's try this. Let's try giving something what you need there to better your skills. And professor, his name's Steve Kleber. He was a theater and film director. But he was a great guy, and he taught me a lot. And it was nice having sort of a mentor to kind of show me. So a lot of it, as you see, it's actually shot in the building there. They let me as a student come in and take some shots there. And he's long since retired. That was long ago, but it was still a fun project. It was a good learning curve.
Well, so obviously he was quite an inspiration to you also.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what are you currently working on?
Currently, so we've got a list of current stuff that is coming up. Oh,
Okay.
boy. Yeah, I've got one coming up. It's our next project, which obviously I can't give too much away.
Okay,
But
don't
we've
give too
got
much away.
Yeah, we've got our next big project coming out. I'll be starring in it and directing it, hopefully, and we're going to start after the first of the year. And then we've got another large project coming out with some very recognizable names, and we're hoping it will be mainstreamed very well, and people will really perceive it well. Obviously, I'll be writing and directing again. This is one of the more larger scale projects I'll be working on, but it's in the works, and hopefully it'll be out to the world in 2024.
Well, okay, so obviously these films you're making are going to be full length features. They're not, I mean, if it's going to take a whole year to produce it, it's not going to be just a short film, right?
Oh no, and everything I do is it's feature length. You see, personally, now I believe that short films can be great when you're in college, when you're learning, you're doing things. But I was told long ago, if you're going to make a film, just make it. Don't shorten it. Don't lessen your vision. If you
Okay.
got the means to do it, make a film, make a full thing. Don't just make something short unless you're just trying to get by. And I'm a firm believer in that. If you got the tools to do it, and there's anybody out there, kids or otherwise that has a dream of this, if you have the stuff to make a movie, make it.
I agree with you. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Where have you sent your film so far, festival wise? I mean, around the country, I assume, around the world. Have you gone as far as Cannes by any chance, in France?
So we've actually, I've never been to Cannes. That's always been a dream of mine.
No, I know that, but I'm asking about your films. Have you submitted them to any festival? Where have you submitted?
Liftoff Global Festival. It's international. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but we just submitted our recent one, and we were the official selection for Liftoff Global Festival. We landed official global, Liftoff Global's official selection for a Night of the Undead. That was a pretty big deal for us to be officially selected, and we held first place for a pretty good while. I think it's that festival. It's long since passed.
Yeah.
But we definitely enjoyed being that. We have some local festivals that at times I'll put stuff in, to sort of help out local community events and things like that. And we've been in a few of those, but yeah, we've been in a few international ones, mostly online, where individuals, since the pandemic, everything's sort of
Right. Obviously,
sort of shut down. Everything's we're digital now, so that's kind of where we're at, and we're locked in our houses for so long. But yeah, we've hit Liftoff Global. You can check us out on Film Freeway, and we've got several others that are coming up, for our film Night of the Undead, and hopefully our other ones to come. Like I said, with my friend Kenny Scott Guffey and I, we're great friends. we developed a relationship while working on this film, and ever since we became best friends. And now he's a producer and I'm a director, and about everything we do is made together. So
That's awesome. Okay.
oh yeah,
And
for
now
sure.
when it comes to like writing scripts, how do you go about doing that? Do you do it by yourself? Do you have you and Kenny? Or do you collaborate with other people? How does that work?
Yeah, so usually now most of the scripts I've done in the past, I'll work on some of them for I've worked on scripts for years before. I mean, absolute years. And then I'll get working on something. But a lot of times, I personally find that the best films that I've ever made or that get lifted off the ground are ones that just randomly hit me out of nowhere. Things that come
Okay.
to me sometimes when I have dreams at night, I'll wake up and I'll say, that was crazy enough, but that would make a great film. Or things that just sort of come to you, because I believe if you try to over push things sometimes, it's really, really hard to make it come out on paper. Because I get so many times I get writer's blog, and I've got scripts I've got to fill, and hours worth of work, and it's exhausting trying to get it in there. But the ones that just they hit and you don't really think about them, and then things just start to happen. Your brain starts turning, the gears get winding, and I'll usually finish one up. Occasionally, Kenny Scott, he'll give me a he'll give me a treatment sometimes of something, and I'll work on it, and I'll create the story, the idea, and then we'll ship it off to one of our guys. He's in your area. He's around there. His name's Tyler
Who is it?
Acoin.
Maybe what's his name? Maybe I've heard of him.
Tyler Acoin.
How do you spell the last name? Corn, like
Uh,
eating corn?
yeah, like a and then coin, like
Like,
a coin.
oh, acorn. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No, I don't think
Yeah.
I've heard of him, but
Yeah,
wow.
he freshens them up, and he'll clean them up and get rid of all my terrible mishaps and dialogues that I fat fingered when I start typing, and he'll ship them back, and then we'll start casting. But when it goes about writing things, we all play a part, but mostly whenever I'm writing my own stuff, it's just something that sort of hits, and it's just stuff that hits me out of nowhere, and that's what I find is the best sort of stories, is those ones that you're not really expecting. Because I believe that what you put down on your paper when you're writing, that's your job to make the audience see that. And if they're not expecting something to hit the way that it does, then that's going to reflect in your writing.
Wow. Well, I got to tell you, you seem like you got a really good flow going there with with everything that you do. It's like you're confident. You seem to know it's like you got the program down. Lickety split. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, well, I've been doing it for a while, and
Yeah, yeah.
like I said, starting out small and kind of going up there. Our last premiere, the my Kenny, this was his first directorial, that he's ever actually done, and I've done it several times before. And I told him he was nervous going in, and I said, I've been here a million times. I said, and for once, it's kind of nice to step back, and I can see somebody else being in those shoes. It was a real learning curve, and the further that you go along, I definitely think confidence is a key role, because you got to be confident in what you do. If you're not confident in what you do, no one else is going to believe in you. So that's what I grew up believing. If anybody's going to believe in you, at least to let it be yourself.
You're talking the reflection right here, because I totally concur. Everything I do is something I had to gain confidence with honing my skills as well.
Absolutely.
Just quick question. We're under 5 minutes, by the way. Have you ever done anything else? You ever played music, or any other sports?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, when I was younger, and I still do, I used to play guitar a lot. I was self-taught, learned to play by ear, especially being here in the bluegrass area.
Yep.
That's a big thing here. People are all about their music, and I was self-taught how to play guitar, and just kind of played by ear. Now, I was never a professional by any means,
Well, it's
or a
not your thing.
professional.
This is, but that's
No,
good.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's enjoyable. And I think that everybody, if you can take a hobby or a dream and turn it into a profession, I think that's something really great. And
Yep.
I strive to do that every day. Even if you're here, if you can at least get to here before you get to here, you're doing something.
You got to get here before you got to learn to fly before you can fly.
That's right. Yeah.
Learn to land. All right. Well, so like I said, we're under 5 minutes. I hope you have fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. couple of things. If you know anybody that wants to do the show after it comes out, have them text me. I'd love to I'm getting so many guests from word of mouth from all over the country now. It's really awesome. I'm actually
Yeah,
gonna be doing a show. I'm going to be interviewing one of the Kardashians next week.
Oh
from
wow,
LA.
that's
At
insane.
one of my other locations. I just talked to him today. I couldn't believe it. All right. The other thing is, I'm going to ask when we finish up, would you stick around and do a picture or two for Facebook? I get my tech guy. He will come in and take it for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, you should. Yeah, definitely. My friend Kenny Scott Guffey, good friend. He runs a podcast, Beam Me Up Scotty. I'm going to give him a shout out here. Lots of celebrities on there off and on. Yeah, I'll send him your way. He's a fantastic guy, and he's my
Cool.
best friend. Has a lot of people under there, and congratulations on the Kardashians. That's amazing.
Thank you. I agree. I'd argue if I could. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. So Jake, great job. We're going to wrap the show up and hang around for a picture or two, and then I'll tag you in it. And then next week we'll edit, and make sure you email that reel as soon as you get out, as soon as we're done.
Absolutely.
That
Yeah.
email address to Joe, and he's going
Absolutely.
to edit. We're going to get it in there Tuesday. All right. Great job. Okay. Ready to wrap it up the way we began it with my music?
Absolutely. Let's do
Okay.
it.
So long October. Have a happy Halloween. See you guys in November. Bye-bye. Have a good one.